thrill me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
It's Review It Man, reviewing what he can. Movies are his jam, so let's get twisted, man. It's Review It Rob. Hey, y'all, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Review It Rob show, man. Appreciate you joining in, hitting that play to listen to me ramble on about all kinds of movie stuff. Got a spoiler-free review for you this week. Is going to be the film, the new horror movie from A24 titled Talk to Me. It's going to be an interesting one to talk about, man. If you're a veteran of listening to the show, you know that me and A24 don't really get along all that well, so it's going to be interesting to talk about that movie. Nonetheless, got some fun other news for you, including the DCU news. We got horror news. Those are both mandatory every single episode. As well, got some talk for you about the Fantastic Four casting, and whatever other random bits we get into here, man. But like I said, appreciate you joining along. If you can do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, and share. That'd be awesome, man. Check out the Thrill Me Podcast Network. I had the privilege of being on the Hunters Podcast show for the third week in a row, man. They must like me over there. I was on there talking some more HHN news. We are about a month away from Halloween Horror Nights officially starting, which means we're about a month away from my trip. Our trip, you know, the group's getting together. The Haunt Pack is getting together. And I'm going to just have a blasty blast down there at Halloween Horror Nights, man. Can't wait. It's the thing I look forward to every single year, man. It's getting closer and closer and closer. Now that we're a month away, I've started dieting. I've started walking more, which means my legs hate me. Absolutely hate me. You know, if walking around after the last 2 days of pushing myself to do better, yeah, absolutely hates me. So, you know, that's a thing. But it's all for a good cause, man. Got to get ready for all that walking to Halloween Horror Nights. Plus, just need to be healthier, man. I'm getting old. I'm getting older, so I need to get a little better shape. But nonetheless, we're not here to talk about diets and weight loss and all that stuff and exercising, man. We're here to talk movies, dudes and dudettes. So let's go ahead and jump into it with this week's spoiler-free review up front. Again, the movie we're going to be talking about here is called Talk to Me. It is rated R for strong, bloody, violent content, some sexual material, and language throughout. The film is a horror mystery thriller. There's that trifecta. We love that trifecta of horror, mystery, and thriller. The film is 1 hour and 35 minutes, sweet spot of time, and it is currently in theaters only. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Of course, you always got to push it too far. Rotten Tomatoes, critic score has at a 95%. The audience score has gone up 1% since the last time I looked at it. It was 81%. It is now 82%. And IMDb has it at a 7.5 out of 10. So, what were my thoughts on this movie, man? Like I briefly mentioned before, A24 and I, especially when it comes to horror films, you know, we're mostly talking about Hereditary and Midsommar, right? And those two films I know people love. They've got their following and all that stuff, and that's fine. If you love those films, good for you. They did nothing for me. I didn't enjoy it. I don't like the mind messery of those films, man. Like I said, there is an audience for it, and they found it. Between the two, I would say probably Hereditary is the better one, I guess. I don't know. But at the same time, I didn't really enjoy either of them. And just going through A24's films, I mean, The Witch, I need to rewatch. I saw that in theaters a long time ago. It wasn't, a film I was looking excitingly into. The Lighthouse was weird, right? So, I mean, Uncut Gems, that movie was all right, but, still a little out there. And then Under the Silver Lake was one I did like, but of course that stars Andrew Garfield, who is, if not my favorite actor, one of my top 2 favorite actors. So what are we doing? That's the thing. So of course I'm gonna like that movie because Andrew's in it. The movie wasn't too bad, man. That was definitely a mystery thriller you had to keep up with, but not all that bad of a film. So I got a weird track record here with A24. And they got several other films I haven't seen, but Swiss Army Man, where Daniel Radcliffe's playing a corpse, like that's you already know that's gonna be a weird movie, you know. The Green Room, I still haven't seen that. I haven't seen Lady Bird. I haven't seen Spring Breakers. Didn't even know they did that movie. Yeah, they get a lot of stuff here that I still need to check out. But the things I've seen, it's been a tough go, and that's why I'm telling you about that before going in to talk to me. Because anytime I see a movie with the A24 on it, I'm like, okay, what am I getting myself into? And of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once is A24, and I still haven't seen that yet. But that movie is widely loved, not wildly, widely loved. I still need to check it out, and I got friends telling me I need to check that movie out as well, but I keep forgetting because of me. But so going into the movie, it was an A24 film that was something that I was like, okay, I'm getting into something that might not like, just based on previous track record, but let's go in with an open mind. Let's see how this thing works out because the trailer looks solid enough. Trailer was very interesting. You see like a party atmosphere. Kind of you think about teenage kids getting together in a basement and all that stuff. Normally they're like drinking alcohol or doing some drugs or whatever, which don't do, by the way, or do. I mean, it's your choice, but I say don't do it. um, but that's normally what you would expect. In this film, they have found an embalmed hand that they can link up to and say, "Talk to me," and in that links them to spirits. Think of like a Ouija board kind of deal, if you will. Um, Again, interesting enough concept, and you know, like I mentioned, the movie's an hour and 35 minutes, and honestly, liked this movie a lot. I really enjoyed this movie. And just to think about this year and how solid horror films have been this year, like that's something to really debate and talk about later about how freaking good this year has been horror movie wise. Maybe the best ever. Who knows? We'll have to discuss that. But it has been a really solid year for horror films, and this movie is just added right into it, man. Like I really, honestly, thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and it gets going right from the finish. Right from the finish, it gets going right from the start. The finish is interesting, but right from the start, it gets going for you. You're already wrapped in. You're already trying to figure out what's going on. That's the mystery aspect of the film, and the thriller aspect of the film. You're trying to figure out, okay, what's leading to this? What's leading to that? Where are we going here? Where are we going there? All that stuff. And you're trying to connect all that stuff, and that's the a good start, man, already. And again, an hour and 35 minutes. This movie kind of goes by pretty quickly. It's a good hour and 35 minutes of pacing that works out and keeps you on that thriller aspect, keeps you tight. Like you're gonna be on edge, man. Like that's what the movie's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to get you in that thriller aspect. It's supposed to get you thinking. It's supposed to get you wrapped up and into it and all that stuff, man. This is like one of those psychological thrillers, if you will, as opposed to like a slasher film or a traditional horror movie. It's one of those things where it's gonna pull your brain in, man. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna wanna, what's happening and what's going on. It's gonna mess with you for sure. And that's not to say it's a full on dreary movie. There is some, comedic aspects, I guess. Not like full on comedy, but there's stuff you'll laugh at. Again, group of kids, friends hanging out in like a area of the house, basement, not really basement, like separate room in the house or whatever. Parents aren't there, of course, and they're, playing with this embodied hand, embalmed hand, embodied, embalmed hand, and they're getting like high off of it. Like up from saying talk to me and seeing what they see and experiencing what they experience and all that stuff. So keeping it spoiler free and all that, I can't go into fully what happens when they do everything and all that stuff and what they see and what ends up happening with the film. But overall aspect of the movie, I did enjoy. I thought it was very well done. The performances across the board are really good. If you've seen the trailer, you kind of know what you're getting into with this movie, but it's a solid film, man. It is a solid movie. It's one of those movies where I'll be like, I did enjoy it. And again, it's gonna fall in line with the other horror movies this year, just being a solid horror year. And could it possibly be in my top 10? Who would ever thought I would have an A24 movie in my top 10 films at the end of the year? It's a possibility, man. It is a strong possibility to where I'm now looking at Megan, and I'm looking at Insidious: The Red Door, and Evil Dead Rise, and now this movie, Talk to Me, all possibly being in my top 10 films of the year because every single one of those films are solid in their own way, in their own right. And they're all kind of like different horror movies when you think about it. Um, you know, Megan, the doll best friend who, is there to help the child, but, things get warped and things go bad there. Evil Dead Rise, that is, of course, an Evil Dead film. It is supposed to be graphic, it's supposed to be gory, but it still has a family aspect story to it. That kind of rhymed. Um, Insidious the Red Door, also family, father son there, but those are more to deal with ghost and the further and other realms and trying to deal with um, past experiences and past traumas and all that stuff. And then what was the other one? Talk to Me, right? That's the one we're talking about here, which is dealing with kids taking it too far and doing things they should not do, and what happens when you take things a little too far around the horror aspect and the horror thriller mystery realm. Again, the cast is solid. Every single person in this film does a fantastic job in what they need to do. Our two main stars is Sophie Wilde, who plays Mia. She is fantastic in her role. She does a great job. As well, Alexandra Jensen, fantastic in her role. Again, the whole cast delivers. The story very easy to follow along with. I won't say very easy, but it's easy to follow along with. You get the idea, you get the gist of what's happening here. And again, solid film, man. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I know that's weird to say about horror films, but I enjoyed the movie. I was not left with a bad feeling leaving the theater. Honestly, I was left with like a pit feeling in my stomach leaving the movie theaters. And I watch a lot of horror films. Y'all know that about me. If you're a classic listener to the show, I love the horror genre. That's my favorite genre of film. And I've watched a lot of horror movies, and some of them I don't get scared, all that often anymore. I've kind of come desensitized. But there are things and images you see in movies that kind of sit with you. And there's a couple scenes in this movie that just sits with you for a while. And I remember I went to hang out with my friend who was in town that day after this. I went to see the movie earlier in the day, and then, went to go hang out with my friend who was in town and our other friends, our other mutual friends, and hang out. And it was just, that whole time leaving the theater, I honestly sat in my car for a good 20 minutes. It was raining, so I was trying to let the rain go away. But at the same time, I was just sitting there like, what did I just experience? And again, not in a negative way. Like you'll get that with some movies. You're like, what the heck did I just watch? Not this movie for me, man. Like I left the theater like that was rough. That's gonna sit with you for a little bit. So be prepared for that. Strong, bloody, violent content. Yeah, there is. There's some scenes with definitely some strong, bloody, violent content. I wouldn't say it's not like a jump scary movie. There's probably maybe one or two that'll get you jump scare wise. Maybe just one. Now that I'm thinking about it, but we'll say two just to be safe. But not really a jump scary kind of film. It's more of a mystery thriller. You got to use your um, brain. You're gonna be on your seat, man. Of course, you're in your seat. You're sitting down to watch the movie, but you're gonna be on the edge of your seat during it. So it is, it's got its terrifying supernatural aspects to it, man, and it worked out pretty solidly, man. So I say, talk to me. Go see it in theaters. Yeah, go see it. Take yourself to the theater and see this movie, man. But yeah, it gets a pass for it. Now, what is the future for this film? Will there be a sequel? Is there anything else going on with it? Well, there was a chat with the Hollywood Reporter from the brothers that made the movie. I'm the worst with the names, so just be prepared to butcher this. And if you listen to this, I am sorry. I am really sorry. I suck with names. It is the Filippo brothers who put the movie together, and they revealed that they have already filmed some kind of prequel for the events of Talk to Me. So that would be, taking place where we kind of start the movie with Duckett, the character of Duckett. Again, not going into spoilers for you, but that prequel with that character we meet in the opening of the movie. They said, quote, "We actually shot an entire Duckett prequel already. It's told entirely through the perspective of mobile phones and social media, so maybe down the line we can release that." Which kind of sounds to me like a short aspect. They do have a YouTube channel that they put some stuff up on and all that, and it's helping other people get stories out there, so maybe they can throw that up on their YouTube. We'll see. It depends on, A24 and the powers that be over there. As far as a sequel, um, they said while writing the first film, you can't help but write scenes for a second film. So there's so many scenes. The mythology was so thick. And yeah, if A24 gives us the opportunity, we would be able we wouldn't be able to resist. I feel like we jump at it. They also mentioned how they have other original stories that they like to work on, but they would not shy away from doing a sequel. Which, yeah, you absolutely can do a sequel to this movie for sure. It's something that leads into being able to do multiple films in this franchise and turn it into a franchise and all that stuff. I'm trying to think of what movies to compare it to. I don't really want to do that. There was moments where I was like, I don't want to say it because people hate that movie, and that might deter you from seeing this movie. So never mind. I'm not saying it. Just go see the movie, enjoy it, and have a good horror time, a horror mystery thriller time with Talk to Me. All right, so it only makes sense to go from the horror film spoiler review into horror talk, and the big horror talk is Scream. The Scream franchise has gotten a kick in the pants lately to get going once again. And I've released two films, Radio Silence, and they had the seventh film already announced and on the way, and it was already up in the air whether or not Radio Silence would be returning to do Scream 7. That was something that was in limbo for quite some time. Of course, Radio Silence, they did the VHS film, Ready or Not, and of course, Scream and Scream 6. And we now know that they will, in fact, not be returning to direct the upcoming Scream 7 film due to scheduling issues. It is unknown who is writing the script. Maybe they wrote the script. Maybe they have some kind of script. Maybe they're going to help write the script. Who knows? But they will not be directing the film. Now, who will end up directing this movie, you ask? None other than horror director Christopher Landon, who did Happy Death Day and Freaky. He will direct the movie. No word yet on, of course, who's writing Scream 7, but Hollywood Reporter is reporting that, of course, Melissa Barrera will be back. She is the star. She is Sam. And Mason Gooding is expected to return as well. Don't even ask. Nothing against the actor by any means, just that character should not be still out there. Just saying, Scream still had guts like it used to. I said it, but no word as of yet if Jenna Ortega will be back, which is interesting. She is one of the co-stars of the film, or co-headlining stars, I should say, of the film with Melissa Barrera. She plays Tara, however you want to say it. Sam's sister. Now it is up in the air because Jenna Ortega is a very important lady, it seems, lately, as her schedule has gotten busier and busier and busier. She's already a Scream Queen. If you just look at her record, she's done so many horror films already. She loves doing horror movies from what I've heard in other interviews. And she's currently, I don't know, maybe they're not shooting right now because of the strike. But she was filming Beetlejuice 2. Wednesday Season 2 is on hold because of the strike, but that is on the way. So we don't know scheduling-wise if she'll be able to be part of the sequel or not. If she is, that might be an opening scene kill due to just how busy she is. And, maybe story-wise help build Sam into a more insane character. I don't know. Again, the Scream franchise has lost its guts, so who knows if they would actually do that or not. Of course, people are making jokes about now that the fact that Christopher Landon is taking over, that maybe previous ladies that he worked with in other films, like for instance Freaky with Catherine Newton, would be the opening scene kill, like Radio Silence did with Samara Weaving and Weaving, and the last Scream film, the most recent Scream film. So we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. And of course, the lady from the other movie, I've already Happy Death Day. I don't remember liking Happy Death Day all that much. I'm gonna have to recheck that movie out. What's her name? Jessica Roth. That's the other rumor that people are expecting to show up now that Christopher Landon's taken over directorial duties for Scream. I like Freaky a lot, though. I do like that Freaky movie a lot. Love the Horror Nights house as well. So we'll have to wait and see. It's all up in the air to figure out what happens with the Scream franchise. Everything's up in the air. We got that strike going on, so gotta wait. Let's see. Another horror film that has gone under the radar big time this year, recently released, and all that. Probably didn't know that it released. I didn't know anything about it until before mentioned Haunters. Zach from Haunters said he saw the trailer before. I want to say Insidious. For a film called Cobweb. I did not see that trailer before seeing, I want to say, Insidious. Saw a bunch of other horror film trailers, but I didn't see that. But immediately after he said that, I went and looked up the trailer online. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But didn't hear anything else about that movie. That movie sneakily entered limited theaters, not even full release, limited theater release. Very little to no promotion whatsoever for that movie. Don't hear anybody talking about it, and it's pretty much hard to find. But won't be too much harder to find any longer, as Cobweb has been announced to be hitting Blu-ray on September 12th, 2023. So a month early. Oh, we'll be at. Oh, okay. September 12th, 2023. So you can have it in time to get ready for your Halloween watches. Cobweb, if you've not heard about it, the synopsis goes as an 8-year-old named Peter is plagued by a mysterious, constant tap tap from inside his bedroom wall, a tapping that his parents insist is all in his imagination. As Peter's fear intensifies, he believes that his parents, Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr, that's the actors, not the characters' names, but maybe it could be. I don't know. He fears that his parents could be hiding a terrible, dangerous secret and questions their trust. And for a child, what could be more frightening than that? It sounds like an interesting movie. And again, go check out the trailer if you want to check it out. But yeah, that one just flew under the radar. It's weird how that one just kind of. But again, track record for the year. Now, of course, I haven't seen like original films on Shudder and Screambox and all that stuff. I haven't seen every horror movie that's come out this year, but like the big horror films that have hit theaters and all that stuff have been pretty dang solid, if you ask me. The ones I've seen, at least. I don't think I've missed any. I don't know, but who knows? Cobweb could be good. Might be again. This could be a very good horror year. Looking at streaming services, we're going to go to Netflix now with reports of a Bride of Frankenstein remake on the way for the streamer. It will be titled The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yes, Rachel from The Dark Knight. They're saying Penelope Cruz will star as the bride. Christian Bale, hey, Rachel! Christian Bale would be Frankenstein, and Peter Sarsgaard would be part of the cast as well. Cool, I guess. I mean, Netflix, that's an interesting pool, especially if it's a Bride of Frankenstein remake. Wouldn't you go to Peacock? You would think, but hey. Make money how you gonna make money, studios, I guess. But at the same time, don't, you freaking greedy bastards. But yeah, there's been a lot of Bride talk. There was going to be a Bride film for the Dark Universe that should have still happened. I love that Mummy movie to death. I will fight you endlessly about that movie. And yeah, so there's going to be that. I think there was like an Elizabeth Banks Bride of Frankenstein film at one point in time, or Scarlett Johansson Bride of Frankenstein film at one point in time. I don't know, but there's been a lot of talk about Bride of Frankenstein movies. Yeah, just doing a quick Google search, which we always do on the show, is it's mandatory on the show as well now, I guess. Yeah, so Elizabeth Banks was rumored at one point in time. John Krasinski was rumored to be directing that movie, and just yada yada yada, stuff happening. But we've been waiting, man. We've been waiting for any and everything to happen with these films. Universal Monsters, they've been teasing us for a bit. They released that Invisible Man movie. After that was a success. They're like, okay, we're going to release more movies in this vein. And then we haven't seen it. We did have Renfield come out this year. Renfield was this year. Holy crap, man. Holy crap. Like, you see so many movies, you forget about movies. Scream came out this year too, didn't it? I want to double check that, but I feel like Scream probably came out this year as well. Scream 6. Yeah, 2023 film. So I take back my year has been solid in horror. I said it. That movie's not bad. It's definitely much better than 5, but that movie does have issues. Again, that franchise has lost its guts. But yeah, Bride movie on the way, possibly at Netflix with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Penelope Cruz is the bride. Interesting. Christian Bale is Frankenstein. He always delivers what he does. That man is a method actor, and he does a great job in pretty much everything I've seen. So, give or take his Batman voice and the Dark Knight, and definitely the Dark Knight Rises. But hey, still a fantastic actor. I didn't need to bring up his voice. That was rude. I'm sorry. It happens. Again, I'm angry. My body hurts from all the exercising and dieting. But that's that. Let's see. Five Nights at Freddy's has been given a rating of PG-13 for strong, violent content, bloody images, and language. The movie's releasing later this year, and the rumors are starting to kick back up for Nightmare on Elm Street, the franchise that has been dormant since 2010. Right, with that remake. We did see Robert Englund play Freddy Krueger in an episode of The Goldbergs, and we've heard Robert Englund say multiple times that he is done with the character. Now, the rumors are saying that the latest rumors, that a requel is in development. And of course, who is attached to a requel? Who is always attached to requels to classic films? Blumhouse. Blumhouse has been secretly working on making the requel, according to this rumor. We will have to see how that all ends up going. Um, you know, it's you got to get something going with that franchise, right? We're in a time period where, again, I know I'm a huge Chucky fan, but Chucky is like the classic horror icon franchise that is still going. It's not having any issues. Like, it's still going. It's getting praised more than ever. It's gonna be a house at Halloween Horror Nights this year. I'm freaking super stoked and excited about that. We did have Halloween recently. That got some mixed reviews with his last two films, but that franchise was still going to somewhat positive reviews for a bit. Other than that, the other horror icons, Jason was in freaking lawsuit hell. That seems to be somewhat over at the moment. We'll see how that all goes. And there's a show coming to Peacock, right? So see how it all works out there. I think Sean S. Cunningham or whatever is working on a movie as well. I don't know. There's so much crap going on Friday the 13th franchise. And then Nightmare on Elm Street's just been sitting there. And of course, we no longer have Wes, which sucks. But they did recently reboot the Scream franchise, which was Wes's. So if somebody can come up with a good story for the Nightmare on Elm Street, why not? Go ahead and give it give it a try, man. Give it a try, see how it works out. Now, obviously, the premise of a child murderer, we don't know how well that's going to work out in this day and age of super sensitive people, but who knows? Back then, man, he freaking was on lunchboxes. Yeah, Freddy Krueger, child killer, was on lunchboxes for kids to take to school. 80s, man, what a time. Let's see. The original film will be hitting its 40th anniversary next year in 2024, since the movie released in 84. So maybe it would be about time to get some news on that front next year to honor that anniversary. We shall see. All right, that was it for horror news, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the DC realm, where we also got some big news over there involving Wonder Woman. I guess kind of big news. And I'm not underselling it. I'm just saying we already kind of knew this, especially if you listen to this show. I've already talked about this. Gal Gadot was never, ever, never, ever, 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 ever replaced as a Wonder Woman. Never. Like, that never happened. We knew Henry Cavill was out because it didn't fit the story James Gunn was telling. We knew Affleck was out because Affleck was done. And the rest of it's been open. Like, we don't know what's going on with Ezra Flash. We don't know. Well, we do. Aquaman is pretty much guaranteed to be in the DCU as well with Jason Momoa. So they've already announced that. So it was never said, even so much so that James Gunn even replied to people on Twitter saying, we have not replaced Gal Gadot. So this news that everybody's freaking out about today, with Wonder Woman 3 still happening with Gal Gadot attached, and it'll be part of the DCU with James Gunn and Peter Safran behind it, is not that breaking of news. It is awesome to hear. It is fantastic and all that. It's great to talk about because Gal Gadot is incredible. We love her. But this is not unknown news. Like, this was already understood. And again, especially if you listen to the show. Like, I've talked about it several times that Gal Gadot is still around and still playing Wonder Woman. So there you go, man. Gal Gadot's still there. Gadot said, quote, I love portraying Wonder Woman. It's so close to and dear to my heart. From what I heard from James and from Peter, is that we're going to develop a Wonder Woman 3 together, end quote. There you go. Let's see. Other DCU news. We have learned that the animated films that will be featured in the DCU will be getting theatrical releases, man. Earlier this year, Gunn had discussed the animation films, saying, quote, animation will tie directly into live action, television, movies, and video games. They will all intertwine within the same universe, end quote, which is so freaking awesome and exciting and fun and all that stuff. And the people who voice the characters in the cartoons and the animation will play the characters in live action, which is the way it should be as well. So that's cool. Just even more stuff for me to see DC-wise in theaters. Into it. Love it. Excited about it. Now, if you remember last week's episode, I talked about the possibility, last week or the week before, of Warner Brothers delaying its later year releases. Dune Part 2, The Color Purple, and Aquaman 2. What is it? The Lost Kingdom? Is it? I don't know. Aquaman 2 is what we're calling it. By the way, prayers up to James Wan. James Wan went through a medical scare. We're wishing the best for James Wan. He's, of course, the director for the Aquaman films as well as The Conjuring. Saw, Insidious, had his hand in a lot of great work. So we wish the best for James Wan. Now, back to those reports. Apparently, Jason Momoa's film will be still releasing December 20th as expected. The other two films are still up in the air if they'll release or not, but this makes perfect sense to me. Again, the DCU is something they're trying to build out and, lead into and get into that new, if you will, that new world of the DC universe. Like they want to get it out. They want to get these films that were already worked on and put together before, the James Gunn and Peter Safran and the DC studios and the new DCU was put together. And of course, they've been, tooling with the movies and working with the movies and all that stuff. But you want to get them out. You want to go ahead and get them out of the way, and be, in the clear of working on your new universe. So that makes sense that they'll still release that. And again, that feels like a movie you'd go see on Christmas with family or something like that. As long as you don't get spooked by a certain who that's in that movie. Ugh. But there you go. That movie looks like it's still going to be releasing this year. Again, the other two movies are up in the air. All right, and the last bit of news to talk about is in the other realm of movie news. It's on the Marvel side. A lot of blow up on the old internet today about the Fantastic Four. The previously announced Marvel film that has changed its release date to later in 2025. May 2025 for that one. So a lot of stuff just broke out with this movie today about all kinds of casting. So reports have come out of pretty much nowhere today because again, Hollywood's on strike. Hollywood writers and actors are on strike. Like there's not much going on right now. So any casting and all that stuff is pretty random. Very weird. But nonetheless, this has all happened today. Starting it off with reports saying that Vanessa Kirby, who you may know from the Mission Impossible films as well as other works that she has done, is apparently the eye for Sue Storm, also known as the Invisible Woman, while Jack Quaid was, and I say was, and I'll get back to that, was the eye for Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, in the upcoming MCU Fantastic Four movie. Now, the reason I say was is because that did not pan out throughout the rest of the day as time went on. That rumor was very quickly denied by multiple sources saying Jack Quaid was not playing Johnny Storm, aka Human Torch, and Jack Quaid himself even put out a tweet saying he is not playing the Human Torch, and then proceeded to put some links to help out with the strike. So good for him on that. Jack Quaid, he was in Scream 5. Looks a lot like Pacey from Dawson's Creek. What a reference. Wow. And nonetheless, he is out. So who would be Johnny Storm? Well, didn't take long for the rumors to fix that and put somebody else's name in there. Very trendy name. An actor who broke out from his role in Stranger Things Season 4. A little metal-loving character by the name of Eddie Munson. Not Eddie Munster. Two on the nose. Eddie Munson. Of course. We're talking about Joseph Quinn, the people the internet absolutely fell in love with from Season 4 of Stranger Things. His now being reported as who Marvel really had their eye on for the role of Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. Cool, fine. He was good in Stranger Things. I have not seen anything else he's been in. Vanessa Kirby, great talented actress. Now, of course, Margot Robbie was at one point in time rumored for that role. doesn't look like that's happening now. Who knows? We have no idea. But we're now on Vanessa Kirby here. That's how this internet movie casting stuff works, man. It's always rumors until somebody tells you for sure what's happening. But that's it. Sue Storm, Johnny Storm. There you go. But that's not it, ladies and gentlemen. There is more circling around this movie and casting. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, cool. What about the other two? What about Reed Richards and Mr. Fantastic and Ben and Grimm, the Thing? What's going on with them? What's happening? What's going on casting wise there? I heard Adam Driver from Star Wars. Kylo Ren was playing Mr. Fantastic. What's going on with that? What's happening? Well, we don't know. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, no idea whatsoever who's playing that character. There are rumors left and right. Adam Driver is apparently no longer attached to playing the character. As well, the doctor, Matt Smith, right? That's his name. Google search, mandatory every Reviews Rob episode. I believe it is Matt Smith, who was in Morbius. Yep, that's him. He also, rumors around him are being denied. So we don't know who's playing Reed Richards. I know what you're thinking. Hey, what about freaking Office Boy? What about Jim from The Office? What's going on with John Krasinski? I thought he played Reed Richards. Well, you're right. He did play Reed Richards in Doctor Strange 2, which I also like to call Wanda and the Multiverse of Madness because it is her movie, babies. He, for some reason, is not playing the character. I don't know why. I don't know if. I don't know who. I don't know why. I don't know where. But nonetheless, it happened. It was not a fever dream. It did happen. You saw it. Apparently, it was just for that movie. For the internet people who wanted John Krasinski so badly to play the character, you got it, and it might be the only time you get it. But what about the Thing? What's going on with Ben Grimm? Do we have any people announced for that? Well, no. Again, we don't. We have all we know, but we do have an idea of what Marvel's looking for here. Apparently, according to this rumor and this report, Marvel said that they are looking for an overweight white male to play the role. So, Marvel, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not because I'm not a Marvel guy. But if you're listening to this podcast, I am, in fact, an overweight white male. And I would play your Ben Grimm. I could be the Thing for your Fantastic Four movie. Hit me up, man. We could do it. I get some acting credibility. I was in Righteous Gemstones, Yeah, check it out. I sat close to John Goodman. Yeah. Walton Goggins said hi to me. Yeah, I got some cred, man. I got that credibility. So you need an overweight white male? I'm your overweight white male, Marvel. Anyways, but that's not it, right? Even that, like, okay, that's a lot of news, man. That's a lot. We're done, right? No, we're not. Apparently, also, we now know that Galactus will be the main villain for this Fantastic Four MCU movie, and he will be played by a Latino actor. Apparently, Antonio Banderas was offered the role earlier this year. Cool. I know a lot of people are hoping for Galactus to be the big bad going forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Looks like it's going to be Kang still, maybe, possibly. The Loki trailer came out. They did not shy away from showing him. Jonathan Majors is in court as we are recording this episode. I did see earlier today that court is still going on for the trouble he is in. And again, he and Ezra Miller are not the same. Ezra did not do those things that they said. But we're not going down that road because I do not want to get angry right now. Yeah, you have to wait to see what happens with Jonathan Majors and the whole Kang of it all. But Galactus is there. People are hoping for Galactus. And Daniel Benedettis, we like him, right? So I give it to Danny Trejo. Why not? And then that's not it either, man. Again, I'm the worst with names, but here we go. Bon Moss Baccarat. Sorry, I suck with names. Is reportedly been cast in the film as well as the Silver Surfer. So keep an eye out, man, and see what all's gonna happen there. We don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a Marvel guy. I don't know what any of this stuff means. The only Fantastic Four movie I saw was the one everybody pretty much majority hates. The one with Michael B. Jordan in it. People apparently hate that movie. I have not seen the other two. I know Chris Evans is in it. I know Jessica Alba's in it. Haven't seen it. Don't really want to see it. So I don't have much gauge on the characters or anything like that. But I'll end up seeing the movie when it comes out probably. So who cares, right? It's all rumors. We have to wait till actual stuff is announced. But nonetheless, man, that is the big breaking news that was going on today. Fantastic Four, Scream, Wonder Woman, all that stuff going down today, man. So I'm glad I was able to do this show and give you those late breaking newses. Movies releasing this week. You got TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Go see that in theaters. I've heard very good things about that movie. I have yet to see it, but I do plan on seeing it sometime this week, probably this weekend. We shall see. But that is your movie of the week. Go see freaking Talk to Me as well. Double feature right there. Mutant Mayhem and Talk to Me. Freaking, whew. Don't take your kid to talk to me at all. Don't do that. Don't do that to your kid. Unless you're a cool parent, you want your kid to watch horror movies. Nah, go ahead and do it. Let's say I feel like there's something else coming out this week. Yes, that stupid ass shark movie. Meg 2, The Trench, is out this week as well. So if you want to see a asinine movie, there you go. Go watch that. I'm sure it's dumb fun. So go have some dumb fun with Jason Statham stopping a shark with his foot. A megalodon with his foot. Okay? Go watch that movie. Actually, I'm not going to tell you not to watch a movie. Go do what you got to do. All right? If you want to watch it, watch it. Have fun. Do what you got to do. Watch the movies when you want to watch. But I would say between the two, go see the Turtles. Very good things about those Turtles. That movie, if you care about Rotten Tomato scores, 95 and above, right? Freaking Meg, last time I checked, 16. All right, so if you care about those scores, I personally don't. That never drives my attention to see a movie at all. And it does. When I see a really bad score, I'm like, I want to see that movie. I want to see that movie. But again, who cares? Those are the two big movies out this week, man. Mutant Mayhem, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and Meg 2. I say go see the Ninja Turtles and go see Talk to Me, our review this week. Hope you enjoyed that review. Hope it helped you understand what that movie was intending to be without spoiling anything, because that's what I do, my babies. But again, appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show. Check me out. I was on Haunter's Podcast. You should watch that show all the time. They are fantastic over there. They do a great job as well. Metal Groove Podcast got some new stuff out there. We got 1D talking about hockey. All kinds of fun stuff going on at the Throw Me Podcast Network. Check that out on our YouTube, Instagram. Hit that like, subscribe, hit that share. We got some Raz energy drinks sponsoring the show as well. Check those out. We got a TeePublic. If you want to, rock a shirt, man, you want to get that Review at Rob shirt, you'll be one of two people that has that shirt. I am the other one. And that's it. All right, cool. Thank you very much for listening to this show. I appreciate you taking that time, man. I know I am a goofy, rambling movie holic, cinemaphile, but I love it, man. I have a good time talking on the show. I love doing this show, and hope you have a love for the show as well, or at least enjoy it. We don't have to go straight to love. We can take some time to get to the love. We can let it build. But nonetheless, thank you for joining in and having some fun with me. Appreciate you as always. And remember, if you're feeling down, that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all next episode.